Can you remember the last time you saw someone you loved begging for something, and you couldn't do anything to help? There's a moment in Dragon Ball Z that completely transcends the fighting, the powers, and all that adrenaline from the battles. A moment where pride shatters, where dignity crumbles, and where the only thing left is the rawest and most painful truth a warrior can face: absolute defeat. I'm talking about those devastating seconds when the Prince of all Saiyans is dying in Goku's arms and does something no one ever imagined seeing. He begs, "Take a deep breath with me for a second, because what I'm about to show you goes far beyond a simple anime scene." Think about everything you know about Vegeta up to this point, a man who spent his entire life being defined by his pride, someone who would rather die 1,000 times than admit weakness, a prince who carried on his back the weight of an extinct race, a royal title that meant nothing anymore because his planet, his people, his family, everything had been erased from existence. And by whom? By Frieza. Now put yourself on that beach in Namek. The sand beneath your feet is stained with blood. The sky is darkening. You just fought with every ounce of strength you possess, surpassed all your limits, and still it wasn't enough. Nothing you did mattered. And as life escapes from your body, you realize something terrifying. You're going to die without having fulfilled the only mission that gave meaning to your existence. It's in this moment of absolute hopelessness that something extraordinary happens. Vegeta always despised Goku, always saw him as inferior, as a low-class Saiyan who didn't deserve to be on the same battlefield as a prince. But they're dying. He sees in Goku the last hope, the last spark of possibility that anyone can do what he couldn't, defeat Frieza. And then the words stopped coming out. Tears streamed down the face of a man who never cried. The voice breaks, trembles, carries decades of accumulated pain. Vegeta tells the truth he kept in his chest for his whole life. Frieza destroyed everything, killed his father, massacred his people, turned the survivors into slaves, into disposable tools of conquest. Vegeta spent years being forced to serve the monster who murdered his family, destroyed his world, erased his culture. Those 3 seconds before he says the words, when you see in his eyes that he's about to break completely, and then everything surfaces. Please, Kakarot, destroy Frieza. Please, with your own hands. Let that sink in for a moment. The Prince of all Saiyans is begging, not ordering, not challenging, begging someone he always considered inferior. And it's not for himself. He knows he's going to die. He accepts that. What he can't accept is dying, knowing that Frieza will continue living, laughing, destroying other worlds, enslaving other races. The brilliance of this scene isn't just in the raw emotion. It's in what it reveals about who Vegeta really is beneath all those layers of arrogance and aggression. For years, we saw him as the arrogant villain, then as a proud rival. But here we see a man completely stripped of all his defenses. A son who lost his father. A prince who failed to protect his people. A survivor carrying the impossible guilt of being alive when everyone else died. And you know what part destroys the most? Vegeta doesn't ask for revenge out of hatred. He doesn't want Frieza to suffer just for suffering's sake. What he wants is justice. He wants someone to prove that Frieza isn't invincible, that all that terror he spread through the universe can be stopped, that the lives that were taken meant something. In that moment, Vegeta surrenders everything that's left of him. His pride, his dignity, his last breath, everything in exchange for a single hope that Goku can do what he couldn't. And the way he says it, with your own hands. isn't just a request for victory, it's a request that a Saiyan, no matter what their class or origin, proved they weren't weak. That Frieza was wrong to underestimate them, that the Saiyan race deserved to exist. What makes this scene absolutely devastating is that it works on multiple levels. For those who followed Dragon Ball Z from the beginning, this is the moment where we finally understand Vegeta. All his actions, all his rage, all his obsession with becoming stronger, it all makes sense now. It wasn't just about ego. It was about carrying the trauma of genocide, of powerlessness, of being forced to serve his own demon. And for Goku, this moment changes everything too. But what really gives weight to this moment is all the history that came before. All the times Vegeta was arrogant. All the times he refused help. All the times he swore he would one day surpass Goku. All of that is destroyed in seconds, revealing the true core of the character. Someone deeply wounded, desperately trying to find purpose in an existence marked by loss. Think about this for a second. Vegeta lived his entire adult life knowing the truth about Frieza. He trained, fought, pushed himself beyond any limit, all with a single goal. And when he finally had the chance, when he finally stood face to face with Frieza, it wasn't enough. All those years of preparation, of sacrifice, of pain didn't matter. He was still too weak. That's devastating in a way that goes far beyond losing a fight. And here's something many people don't realize. This moment is also about trust. Vegeta is trusting Goku in a way he never trusted anyone. He's placing in the hands of another Saiyan not just the hope for revenge, but the redemption of his entire people. It's an act of faith from someone who never had faith in anything but himself. When Vegeta closes his eyes, for the last time, in that moment, he doesn't die as the arrogant villain we knew at the beginning. He dies as a man who was finally honest about his pain, who finally admitted he needed help, who finally trusted someone besides himself. This scene completely redefined who Vegeta was as a character. After this, every time he appears in the story, we carry this memory. We understand that beneath all that aggression exists someone who suffered in ways we can barely comprehend. Someone who is constantly fighting not just against external enemies, but against the ghosts of a past that can never be changed. That is why this death of Vegeta remains as one of the most powerful moments in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. It's not about fighting power. It's not about epic transformations or giant explosions. It's about human fragility in the most vulnerable moment possible. It's about recognizing your limitations and still finding courage to ask someone to finish what you started. If you watched this scene and felt a tightness in your chest, it wasn't by chance, it was because on Somileval we've all felt this way. We've all faced something that seemed impossible. We've all had to admit we need help, even when every fiber of our being wanted to prove we could do it alone. Vegeta, in these final moments, is no longer the prince of all Saiyans. He's just a broken man asking for justice for those who can no longer ask for themselves. When was the last time you let your defenses completely fall and asked someone to carry a weight you can no longer sustain alone?